I am joined by the fabulous Alexa White. How are you, Alexa?
Doing just fine. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well. Do you want to talk us through a little bit about this match? Who have we got and what are they running?
So today we have Fast Nick versus Ulysses. From what I need to pull up another document over here. And Fast Nick is playing X-Men. And they are from the Oceania bracket. So this is Australia League, and then Ulysses is playing Blackwater, and they are from Central, which is that would be U.S. East Coast, right?
Central is kind of East Coastish. It's in the middle, like it kind of suggests.
Yeah.
So should we have a look at the X-Men roster quickly?
Yes.
It's being changed as we speak.
I have it up on the TTT document here, so I can just go through it.
Well, we've got it up on the stream as well. So yeah, it's going to be probably led by Storm, right?
Yeah, it's probably going to be led by Storm, but they do actually have Cyclops in the list.
For sure.
And then they have Cable, Domino, Scarlet Witch, and Wolverine, and Beast as their other in-affiliation picks. So
Scarlet Witch isn't affiliated. She's Brotherhood and Avengers.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she never worked for the X-Men for a significant length of time.
It's complicated. As with everything comics and X-Men, it's complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot of history out there. Crises-wise, we've got Demons Downtown, Mutant Madman, and Swords. We've got two of the pay to flips and Demons Downtown. So it seems like those pay to flips maybe leveraging First Class, which gives essentially free interacts on the first round. So sort of getting that Asgard advantage.
Yeah, leveraging First Class, and they have multiple characters now in this list. Actually, no, only one. But a lot of consistent power gen through their characters between the likes of Domino and Mystique, who have flat builders, and then Cable, who generates 2 power a turn.
Yep.
To always be able to have the power to flip a point.
Yeah. Seems good. And then we got Figure Ups, Spider Infected, and Montesi. So hammers, everyone loves hammers. Montesi, I'm seeing Montesi taken a lot more these days. I think people have realised it's often good. Maybe without priority, it's one of the better ones to play without priority, unless you're going for like scrolls or alien shit.
It is one of the most mid-range objectives in the game, actually, in my opinion.
What do you mean by mid-range?
It has this thing where it's like if you control everything, you're still getting a good amount of points. You're getting 3 points a turn, which is not like disastrously quickly, but fairly quickly. But you don't lose a lot of points if you're not winning the objective.
So we've got an exact tie on priority roll, so they're going to go again.
And then a thing I wanted to bring up about this list.
Another exact tie.
Wow, that is impressive.
It's not often you see that.
Another thing I wanted to bring up about this list is that it's bringing Doom Prophecy.
Yeah, that is fun. Okay, so finally got it, and Fast Nick has got priority with his X-Men. So against Black Order, that's huge. I would expect typically against Black Order, you'd want to be taking extracts to get a fast extract, although it appears that he was just then selecting a secure. So interesting. My standard go-to is to try and deny Black Order those slow extracts. And maybe he's planning to. So we've got Alien Ship from Black Order and Sword. There's the reason.
Is he planning to force 14?
I would expect so, yeah. I think that's the reason for choosing secures. Now, there's a little bit of a gamble because there's a 1 in 3 chance you discard it. And then he had, 14 threat confirmed from AJP2, who is our table judge. Thank you, AJ. So 14 threat, that's what Black Order doesn't want to see. What would you take at 14 threat with the Black Order roster, given what Ulysses has brought with him?
I don't know. There's an interesting piece of tech in this list that I want to bring up, which is that he's brought Loki in this Black Order list.
Yep.
And Utility Cookie with that 2-model list comment, which is an entirely possible pull for this Black Order list.
Yep, they can do it. Do you want to? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think the key thing is never drop the reality gem off Corvus, is what some people might be tempted to do, to like shave that point off that 15 threat list. I think you're much better off going for the standard 15 Thanos gem, Corvus gem, Proxima, but trade Proxima down to Okoye.
Okoye.
Yeah. I mean, if you had Nebula, then maybe you could argue Nebula, but I don't think Nebula's in his roster, is she?
Nope. He has Baron Zemo, Corvus, Mind, Power, Reality, Time, Loki, Okoye, Proxima Midnight, and Thanos. And that Power Gem also jumps out to me.
Yeah, I think that's kind of more in there for the 16 threat build, where you go 15, standard 15 we talked about, but add the Power Gem for the extra point.
Yeah.
I know Utility Cookie's been a big fan of that, been advocating that for a while.
It's the question of, do you run the Power or the Soul Gem?
Well, in this matchup, so we're talking Sword, aren't we? Man.
Yeah.
So I don't think Nick can run 5 wide, can he? He's going to have a 9 threat base of Storm, Domino, Beast. So then, he has got 2 and a 3. 2 and a 3 gets in there, so he can go 5 wide. This is going to be a tough ask, I think, for Ulysses. It's such a difficult threat value. This is, if you're going up against Black Order, this is your ideal start, is to put them on a crisis where you get to push them, where you're very likely to dominate secures, get those 3 VPs, which is probably as much as you could reasonably expect on one of the 4 VP spread secures. So you've got a secure you like. You've got the ability to then push a Thanos or a Corvus away, which is massive, because you're essentially staggering them. You're having to, or making them use their tactics card in a way that isn't probably optimal for them. So definite. I'm feeling the X-Men here, based on where we've set this game up.
And it's very interesting because of how much ground Black Order will have to cover on specifically sword base, because they have to cover 2 of the 3 points in order not to be losing.
I think
and
that's
have people score out against them.
That's doable, because you just kind of ignore one side, and you just say, well, I'm going to take this one here, and if you come to me, I'm going to eat you, which is going to give me some VPs, and then I'm going to slowly march to the middle one, and maybe leaving Okoye to cover the back one.
Yeah.
So I think they're just doing a bit of measuring on this table, sort of looking at deployment zones. That advantage you have got as the non-priority player is something that you should be making the most advantage of. And so Ulysses is looking carefully. He's doing a few measurements, looking at the range 3 for the deployment zone, and then sort of trying to guess a base size, and then put a medium stick down and seeing roughly where in the table that ends him up.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is going to be a very interesting match. Of note in the tactics cards, for the Black Order player, we do have Grievous Wounds, Execute, and No Matter the Cost all in there.
Yeah, so would you take Grievous Wounds? What are the healing cards that Fast Nick's got access to? Because it's not likely to see Wolverine.
It's he has no healing cards.
So you're probably not seeing Grievous Wounds then.
Yeah. Because he's bringing you've got Doom Prophecy as his restricted slots.
Yeah, so no field dressing, no med pack, no patch up. Yeah. But interesting then, the Doom Prophecy, there's some great Doom Prophecy targets.
Oh yeah. Domino's a really big Doom Prophecy target. He has Mystique also in there, which is a really good Doom Prophecy target. Beast can be a Doom Prophecy target in a pinch, so he has at least 3 vectors where Doom Prophecy is powerful.
Yeah, that seems good. So who would you take, if you're the X-Men player, who do you take as your building out of your core, your 2 and your 3 to make that 14 threat 5 wide?
Well, so he only has 1/2, which is Toad. Which is going to be really interesting on... Yeah.
they've just revealed the rosters, and it's not what we expected at all. He has gone tall. Yeah, man, that is not what we were thinking at all. Okay, so we've got, for a start, we've got Cyclops' leadership instead of Storm's. We've got Cable, and then Scarlet Witch. Now, I think that hands back a lot of the advantage he might have just got. What Black Order is great at doing is just going, that character there, we're just going to delete them. So if one of these big 5-threat characters gets deleted at the top of turn 2, that's practically game over. So we're going to have to see some incredibly conservative play from Fast Nick him, and maybe he knows what he's doing.
We don't because he has priority.
Yeah, that's true, because
and there's no husband and wife to steal the priority.
Yeah, okay, that's a really good point. Because typically what you see with Black Order is they try and daze someone round 1, and because they've gone so tall, they're going to have priority into round 2, and they're going to daze someone, KO that character in round 2, the very first thing they do. But that's not going to be possible, assuming that Okoye doesn't get dazed or something before she acts, which seems highly unlikely. So we've got First Class, Blind Obsession, all you've got, to me, my X-Men Advanced R&D. I really like Blind Obsession because he knew that he was going to go 3 into 3. So, I like Blind Obsession there a lot.
And I appreciate going with the X-Men art choice for the Advanced R&D.
Yeah, it's got to, haven't you? Yeah. So we've got the team we expected. We've got the Mind Stone on Thanos, which is kind of standard. That's what you'd expect. With Okoye, we've got Medpack, Advanced R&D. No matter the cost, Mothership, all you've got. That no matter the cost is interesting there. So we're thinking Corvus is the no matter the cost target to get an early death blow off?
That is possible. It also, you could, in a pinch, do it for a Vibranium Spear Thrust, but I think Corvus will be the main target.
Okay, Cable's going for one of those Storm bases. We've got Cyclops going on the other. I wouldn't be surprised to see Scarlet Witch going down on the other one.
And it's really interesting because with his setup, he has so much long range that even sticking on a far point, you can influence the middle point as the X-Men player.
Utility Cookie in the chat saying that 2-man team would have been great here. You're not wrong there.
Yeah.
But this was completely blindsided us, and I think a lot of the people in the chat, we were just not expecting this. And I'm really excited to see how this plays out. Is this another way then of playing into Black Order?
Ooh.
So it's gone heavy on one side and just completely refusing this flank down here. So Okoye is going to be able to come in and just steal this. And then we've got 3 heavy hitters into 2 heavy hitters. Do you think it's kill Thanos? That's the plan. That's the received wisdom of how to sort of start dealing with Black Order, taking away that cosmic portal that he's got of one of his control effects. So I'd expect to see conservative play with Thanos in round 1 from Ulysses to try and ameliorate that, try and play against that. Now that's
sure. And
this has completely flipped this whole matchup on its head now, because Okoye is going to come down and get this bottom rubble, and then he's going to have the option to go late with Thanos, double move, mind gem someone away, and he's almost certainly going to get those secures. We might be seeing Black Order control going on here, with Thanos control being the main thing, and maybe targeted after they've activated dazing with Corvus Glaive. Ooh, be interesting to see if Ulysses is able to switch out and change his game plan here.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting matchup. I am already shocked by this game. But we also have a turn 1 First Class.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and Cable's spending the power to body slide, so he doesn't have any power, he doesn't need any because of First Class in order to interact with that sword. And he might be able to get a cheeky range 5 into Thanos.
Yeah.
Just looking... He had a little bit more movement there. So if he doesn't get that range 5...
Yeah, it looks like he's playing conservatively towards Sin.
He's going...
Interesting.
Well, you're going, you're going to move me off anyway, so I'm going to make you go over there, but then I'm going to come away. Because Thanos can't reach that with one single move.
Ooh.
So it looks like I'd like to have seen a measuring 5 from Thanos. We know 5 is the warp portal punch range.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've got an additional move. To Me, My X-Men. He's using To Me, My X-Men to clump everybody up. Really interesting opening plays here from Nick. Not something I've seen a lot of. It's often thought To Me, My X-Men is actually not that good a card. But really interesting to use it almost like a preemptive escort to safety there.
Yeah.
So Okoye's coming down. She's going to grab that point. And then are they going to be fighting over the middle then? Does Thanos go to the top and Corvus goes to the middle?
It's going to be interesting. Is she going to try and go for the confirmed VP or go for the extract? Because Okoye only has one power to do interaction with the scenario this turn.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even thought about that really, have we? So I think that the right play is to try and get the guaranteed flip on the route to getting 3 VPs. Because if you get that, then this is going to be a slow game. And it may well go to round 6, although given the heavy hitters we've got on the table, that's not a guaranteed thing at all.
Yeah.
So just measuring out some stuff, saying if I go on there, can I be got? So that's measuring from Cyclops. Looking at a range 2 and then some medium moves. Cyclops has got that. It's only range 4, his Optic Blast. And the push you're not so worried about because if you've already taken the rubble. But it's good to see the thought process that's going in. So there we go. That's his move Optic Blast range. So it looks like Okoye is going to be safe from reprisals. So Mr. Bonder, he's saying that Nick knows not to power up Thanos, not give any power to Thanos. But at the same time, it looks like he's going to be playing the attrition mode and early damage on Thanos. Drawing out that med pack round 1 would be a big bonus. So the sooner you get going on that.
Is he trying to bait Thanos, though? Is he trying to get Thanos to attack into a Scarlet Witch early to get judgmented and then go into a Thanos?
I think you'd probably rather go into Cable, wouldn't you? Cable right now has got no power, so he can't raise his defenses. Pull him away from everybody else, kind of isolate him.
Well, I think it's going to be more what this next activation on Fastnick's side really shows up is if he's putting out Scarlet Witch as this big juicy target. Yeah.
So Admiral, JCJF. Sounds like something out of the Fresh Prince. Saying it's a shame we haven't got Jean here instead of Scarlet Witch. Have the whole Summers family.
Yeah. But sadly, Jean was not out for the cut, but it is something Fastnick is very excited about. I heard him talking about Jean Grey before the game started.
Yeah, I suspect that if that were an option, it would be what's being played right now.
Yeah.
What I really like, Fastnick seems to be, in the article I wrote about the rosters, he was the one, he didn't take Okoye, there's no Okoye in his roster, and he didn't take Bitter Rivals either. So just kind of zagging across from the meta a little bit.
Which I think is a good thing.
Absolutely. It's great to see diversity and people who aren't falling into groupthink and are trying out new things and clearly having success with them.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like Okoye has gone down and has claimed that for Black Order.
Yeah.
Look in here, measuring range 3 from Cable. I think that's to stay in Cable's defense bubble, isn't it? Yeah, range 3. So it's gonna cluster around Cable. Doesn't have any power at the minute, but just planning for next round, making sure that your characters are where you want them to be. I mean, it's difficult to do when Thanos is on the board because your characters don't stay where you put them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. This is going to be. Ugh.
So, small move. Okay, interesting.
Interesting.
So climbing up on the building, staying within range, but not going and flipping a portal, or not going and flipping one of these stations. He has spent some power though, so
it would have been turn 1 spending for
to me my X-Men.
to me my
that's where his power's gone.
to me my X-Men.
Yeah, to bring Cable back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Thanos. Where's Thanos going? Maybe nowhere.
So Morgan apparently answering a question in the chat. Vince Chan asked how much Nick has practiced this matchup, and apparently Morgan says he's done it a couple times.
Probably into Morgan, and that's a rough. Practicing Black Order piloted by Morgan. That is fantastic preparation.
Yeah. So that is really interesting information to know. So he may have some information that we don't have about this specific matchup and how to play it.
And I'm sure they've done a lot of dojo as well, a lot of preparation.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at it, he's measuring out that range 4, so he'd have to double move to get up to that range 4, but then he's looking at bringing Scarlet Witch in. Maybe Scarlet Witch is his target for who he wants Corvus to start trying to remove.
Mm-hmm.
But then... And he can still ignore this top research station or whatever it is, this top sword base.
Sword bait.
Yeah, because having got that bottom one for free with the Koye, Corvus comes in, spends a power. He's going to want to be around here anyway. Although he would have to double move to do that. So it'd be good to see Thanos doing that if that is the plan. But then if Scarlet Witch double moves up to take it, then you're in Corvus range. Yeah, there's all sorts of permutations here.
Mm-hmm.
And Ulysses sensibly is taking his time to think through some of these things, because this opening engagement is going to be really important to get right.
While he's probably dojoed this matchup a little bit, having seen the list at the start of the week, I don't think this is something he has a lot of practice on before going into this match.
I don't think he saw this coming at all, so I think he's having to kind of take his experience and apply it to the situation that he's finding himself in.
And this may also be a case of he hadn't dojoed this specific breakdown because he just didn't expect it to come up on the 3-wide list. He might have just dojoed against the 5-wide list.
He's measuring the size, the range 5 from Cable, but might be forgetting that there's the body slide as well that can get him closer, which he can guarantee he can do every turn. So it will be in range. I don't think it's possible to get out of range, so you'd be better off having Thanos come up and get cover from behind this size 3 truck.
Mm-hmm.
Just help his survivability. But
especially if Thanos is the target as Perennial Wisdom 4.
Taking on Black Order, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So going up and taking this one off the X-Men, that guarantees him, if he wants it, to score the 3 VPs, because there's one activation left, Scarlet Witch. She'll only be able to get to one of them. And if she does go to the middle, then Corvus is going to get a move and an attack into her, and is still going to score them anyway. So I like this move coming up here. I think switching to the control player in this particular setup as it is right now, it's really interesting using the sword base against him. That one that
is he going to try and flip for the Kree Core?
Hasn't got the reality gem.
He does have the 2 power.
Yeah, he's got the 2 power to do it, but I think probably he's happy just going, I'll go 3-0 up. And if you bring Scarlet Witch in here and find the Kree Core, then I think that probably works to my advantage.
Well, I'm just looking at, is he the aggro or is he the control for this matchup? And he may be the control where he has to go for the points advantage and not play the long game. Because I can easily see that entire force rotating out over to Thanos and having him to play catch-up with Okoye and Corvus Glaive in a really awkward way at top of turn 2.
Okay, so we're looking at Scarlet Witch probably coming up, standing on cover so that as far away as possible from Corvus, but with a medium move, 50mm base and range 2, that's 10 inches. So you've got to be range 5 to be out of strike distance. And that probably is out of 5.
Oh yeah, it
3,
probably
4.
is.
Yeah, 5 would be exactly on the centre line. So that's out of 5. So that's safe from a strike from Corvus. Though if they wanted, you could always get the Corvus's attack. He doesn't use as often the Atom Splitter. Energy range 4.
Well, and also, as Wargaming Dad brought up, this could be a very early no matter the cost on Corvus. Because that
Yeah.
Death Blow is a
range 3
attack.
Yep. And then that leaves going to do some damage on Scarlet Witch. Probably end up with the downside of that is you're going to end up with a judged Corvus, who's then going to be KO'd. He's not going to have the power that you'd expect when he flips over. But it does have priority. Yeah, the priority game is really interesting about, do you want to have priority or do you want to have not have priority? And traditionally on this secure, going last is really strong because of that push effect you get. So being able to try and make sure you're getting the secures, not only the VPs, but you're getting that control effect as well. Interesting. Okay, so Scarlet Witch has gone up and grabbed it. Corvus is going out. It looks like Thanos only spent 1 power, so he hasn't tried to get the Kree-Core.
Yeah.
Also, if he had got it, it would have taken a damage as well because he didn't make an attack. So maybe that factored into the thinking.
As Wargaming Dad pointed out, Corvus would really want, and as you were talking about, Corvus would really want to have to one-shot her for the Scarlet Witch attack, which just seems kind of risky.
Yeah, it's not very likely.
Because if you don't, you're 2 to 3 health down on a Corvus Glaive into a attrition team with a judgment on you.
Yeah, I agree. That feels bad. So just look and see whether Corvus can go over there and maybe try and get the Kree-Core from over there. It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Because with the Reality Gem, his odds are nearly double. Goes up from sort of 23 to sort of 45 or something, somewhere in that region. So it's kind of a coin flip, a bit worse than a coin flip. But if he gets it, then going 5-0 up. Yeah, that's Black Order 5-0 up. I suspect Ulysses has never had that before. 5-0 up after round 1 with Black Order. It's not a common situation they find themselves in. They're normally chasing the game early and then relying on the attrition to swing back the control of the secures and extracts.
But they're facing another team that is expecting to do the exact same thing.
Yeah. Strength on strength here. So yeah, Corvus is going to go fishing. Which, if he finds it, he's going to take damage as well. But a dazed Corvus, not necessarily a problem, because with Death's Decree, those 4 extra dice, yeah. And by not attacking Scarlet Witch, he's not got any judgment on him, so he's going to come back with a bunch of power. Downside is, the people who have done it might be really far away. Range 5 attacks on Cable and range 4 attacks on Scott. It might be taking him down at range significantly reduces that advantage that you normally get. So here comes the roll. Can he find a Kree-Core? No. Not in that pile of rubble. Not yet, anyway. That would have been
means it's only...
Yeah, only three to zip. But I don't think that's... I don't think that's a huge deal. It would have been nice, clearly, if he'd gone 5-0 up. But I think... Interesting.
With how heavily committed Ulysses is to that side of the board, do you see Fastnick rotating around and going after Okoye?
I don't love that as a plan, because it's not hard at all for Thanos to move once and pull in, for example, Scarlet Witch or Cyclops or Cable, whichever one you move over to this side with. Thanos comes and pulls in the other one and starts wailing on them and sets it up for Corvus to do something similar. You've also got Mothership, so it's a lot more action efficient for Ulysses to redeploy than it is for Fastnick. Maybe Field Leader on Cyclops would help some, but he's going to need to get some power for that. So this is them in the power phase. They're resolving the sword push. Trying to make sure, so it looks like Cable's being pushed and trying to make sure Cable's out of 2 of Cyclops. What's that? What's the relevance of the 2? Because the defense is 3. Is it Field Leader?
It is Cyclops affiliation ability, I think.
Ah, yes. No, that's range 3.
Nope, that's also range 3.
Yep, not sure what that is.
Yeah.
So by pushing Cable, we talked earlier about how the body slide by 1 can move him back. It moves him back almost as much as a short, meaning that he would have to move, and that's reducing Cable's attack by 1. So I think Nick's recognised that Cable could body slide in and then shoot twice, and so chose Cable as the obvious person to be the one who got controlled and pushed away. Yeah, lots of control effects. Utility Cookie's just sort of listing all of the control effects. And 3 control effects with the Sword Push, the Mind Gem, and the Cosmic Portal, and 3 characters. So you can definitely play a keep away Thanos. Probably last activation feels very good. You've got Corvus to go first activation if there's a good attack opportunity. You've got Okoye as a spare activation, maybe first if you just want to delay, or maybe in the middle, and then going last with Thanos. That feels very good.
Yeah, Okoye is effectively their path action.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is something that Black Order in normal matchups does a lot. But they can't leverage that action because of how the lineup has settled down with this 3v3 matchup.
Okay, just a bit of nudging went on. AJP2 there, the line judge has gone in and just reset everything, and now the players are carrying on with that push. Yeah, outside of 2. So if you're X-Men, who are you activating with first, and what are you doing? Looking at the range 5, yeah. So looking at, is Cable going to get anywhere near? And it would be a body slide and a move. Cable being a short mover. All right. Yeah. There's a medium mover on Scott. So again, looking, can I go into Okoye there? And that's easily in range of move and an attack. There's a size 4 house right next to Okoye, so there's a decent throw, although it looks like that wouldn't be in range because it's only a medium throw. So if it's kind of range 4 was just about in, then it's not going to be in throw range there. But no brace for the Black Order, so that size 4 throw, it's going to be potentially relevant. And that might have influenced Ulysses in choosing to go heavy on this side, away from this size 4 house down here.
Yeah.
So instead, looking at Corvus. So going in, getting an attack into Corvus, maybe putting some conditions on him. She's got a range of conditions she can put on. A hexed Corvus feels really good because of those extra crits he gets off the skulls from the Reality Gem. So hexing Corvus with a Hex Bolt, it would be a decent play. Seems like that's what's happening. 6 dice into 3. And Nick's going to be looking for skulls. Gets one.
And he got one.
Yeah. Any damage that gets through is kind of a bonus, but that hex is what he was really after, I think.
Yeah. And he's getting at least 1 damage through. Cool.
Yeah, I was getting 3 through. Reduced by 1 to 2. Yep.
He gets 3 successes versus the 1 of Corvus because of Reality Gem.
Reality Gem, of course. Yeah, so only 1 through. You're right. But then, yep, there's the hex going on to him.
Which is going to be a problem for that Corvus.
Yeah. So that was, and it looks like Scarlet Witch also flipped the portal. Yeah, she
flipped that last turn.
Oh, she did, didn't she? She's standing within 1. Did she go? Hasn't gone searching for a scroll.
No. I think she's just staying on there, so if someone tries to come in, they have to do the 50-50 or force a move effect off of her.
Her power doesn't look right, though, because she should have gained a power from that. and she got a free flip last round from first class.
No, she didn't, because she's not an X-Men.
Oh, she's not an X-Men. Of course she isn't. Yep, that makes sense. That's how the power maths works.
Yes, we both made that mistake already this time.
Yep. Okay, we've got some dice coming in. Looks like Corvus is hunting for that again, and doesn't find it.
And misses it again.
So that's the walk punch range, or maybe he's looking at the range 5 for Cable. So he's considering. I think he might be considering going with Okoye just to pass and just checking that Okoye is going to be safe if she sits there. And looking at it, yeah, that's the Cyclops threat range. Hasn't got the power for a field dressing at the minute. It's not for a field leader at the minute. And can he field leader himself?
No, he can't.
Has to be someone else.
I think it's another character.
Yeah.
But I think field leader is going to come out very big when it starts moving Cable around.
Yeah, or Scarlet Witch, either of those 5 threat characters getting free moves. It's going to feel very good.
And they've kept Corvus out of threat range of Cyclops, it looks like.
So some very safe positioning there from Ulysses. Looks like Cyclops double moving up there, probably to go and look for a scroll. Yeah, paying a power.
Yeah.
Not a scroll, sorry, and a Kree-Core.
Kree-Core.
Nope, it's not there either.
Nope.
I think that's one of the things Black Order always likes to see, is people rolling those dice and sinking power into it. Puts Cyclops that bit further away from that field leader we talked about, or his big beam 5, 7 dice beam 5, optic devastation.
Well, that one's a little bit more malleable since it's only 4 mana? Yeah, 4 power. And so he only actually needs 1 or 2 on 2 on himself, because he has the Cyclops affiliation ability.
Yep, Cyclops leadership. He makes good use of his own leadership. That's definitely true. But they need to be within 3, and with Thanos moving people around, that's not always going to be the case. Be interesting to see whether Ulysses when he does those control effects with Thanos, whether he ever does measure 3 from Cyclops for that exact reason. I expect he is going to measure 3, because 3 is also the range of Cable's defensive tech, so it feels like it's going to be likely.
Yeah. Like, for a Black Order list, this is a very spicy Black Order list. I will say that much.
Well, the Black Order list is relatively standard, isn't it? It's the X-Men. It's the way this matchup is playing is spicy.
Well, I mean, roster in general, like the Loki Splash and a lot of the stuff they're doing in their tactics cards is very interesting to me.
I've heard people talk about the Loki Splash, and I think he likes that in the mirror. Might be one of the reasons for having it. Just making Corvus pay extra for all of those superpowers he wants to use, basically for Glaive's Edge. Making Glaive's Edge cost
also
4.
making husband and wife cost 1, making Thanos gems cost 1.
I'd have to check Loki's wording. Because it's you pay before you use the superpower, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Because there are some things that don't. Like, you can't... No More Mutants a gem because they're not paying any power. The wording on No More Mutants says they have to be paying power for the ability. So Thanos, you can't turn off Thanos' gems. You can turn off other people's gems. Like the time gem if it's on someone else. So, oh crikey! So we've heard, Ulysses just still trying to figure out what to do with this activation. Cable's going to be coming in last and hopefully building some power. But the way this turn is shaping up, it's going to be another 3-0 to Ulysses, and he's going to get that push again.
So this may be an attempt to backstop Cable. Maybe what Fastnick's turn is. Like a move, and a teleport across the building to backstop him.
Why do you think a backstop would help?
it forces the push off of sword base to be in a direction that still leaves him in a space where he can attack either Thanos or Corvus.
Well, the downside with that is the Cosmic Portal and the Mind Gem don't care about the terrain because Cable is a size... Oh no, he's only size 2, so he can't advance over the truck, so the Mind Gem stops it. But you just Cosmic Portal him to the other side, Mind Gem him away, and then Sword push him away again, and he ends up probably about where he is right now.
Yeah.
So again, some more careful measuring. I think it's that climb. Corvus climbing over the corner of the building, maybe?
Yeah. I am with Reed here that I think Nick gave up too much ground too early and is in a very bad situation now.
Yeah, he had everything set up beautifully to play what you'd think of as the classic answer to Black Order, and I think he's, it's not a slam dunk, but I think he's advantaged in that matchup. And he has gone for something a little bit out of the box, which is totally in character for how he's built his roster and how he's played his games. So he's sticking true to himself, and he's playing a team he loves, but it feels like this hasn't set up very well for him.
Yeah. And then, 1 second, I need to pull up a different document.
So, Morgan again suggesting Corvus should be trying to grab that and run away. Which it looks like he's taking damage. Yeah, hasn't paid the power yet by the looks of it this turn. Yeah, so he hasn't gone yet. So I think he's still puzzling out what should I do. But I think Morgan's right. If Corvus does get that and absconds,
it's going to be exceptionally difficult because suddenly it's a 4-turn clock and Vastnik really will have to be aggressive.
And you've got, so here's the super important roll. This is Corvus. Oh, that's just disappeared. So maybe everyone's reading Scarlet Witch's card. I think Corvus shook the hex, and I think they're saying you can't shake the hex because of hex field, but that's only range 3, so he was fine to shake the hex.
And he gets it.
Yeah, that skull there. He's got the Creekor. He's taken an action to shake the hex, so he's only got 1 action left. And yeah, moving away and then have Thanos firing these characters into the distance while you're controlling this top point, and then push. Oof, this is looking very bad for Nick at this point. It's going to need something special. Now, maybe Cable next round is going to have 4 power. Maybe there's some, or you've got shenanigans that can happen here. I wouldn't hate a blind obsession, but I think he's probably going to struggle for the power. Yeah, he can't. He's not going to be able to do both of those. But yeah, here is Corvus bravely running away with Creekor. He will take another damage because he hasn't made an attack, and will only have 4 remaining health. So he's slowly chipping away at that pool of health he's got. But the issue that he's going to have is Thanos controlling all of these pieces that want to be attacking Corvus.
Yeah, it's going and the sword base control.
For sure, yeah. So Cable's has got to come up as much as he can.
And of interesting note, this is the last, from my understanding of stuff, this is the last X-Men roster in the top 16.
Yes, but it's also the last Black Order roster. So either way, one of the affiliation.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Black Order?
Well, there were only 2 of them in the top
Yeah.
16, and Finger Guns lost yesterday.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's got a shot into Thanos if he wants it.
Mhm.
Try and build some power. Maybe you get 4 power off this, and you can move and attack Corvus again with on all you've got. Doesn't feel great, but
Yeah.
that's a route that's kind of starting to get out of this. Thanos isn't going to get cover,
Mhm.
but it will give him a bunch of power to start portaling all kinds of people away. Yep, Vince Champ, the Finger Guns match was recorded. You can find it on Dr. Norbert's channel, on the VOD on there, and I believe GD Nerd, Roster Doctor collects all the YouTube videos and puts them into a playlist. This one will go up onto YouTube and into that playlist shortly after the game is finished. Okay, so double move. So Cable is going to be spending a lot of Thanos' turn going further away. Yeah, that's Cable done. And Thanos goes, right, go away. He's made sure he's outside of 2, so he's not going to get punched and thrown away.
Mhm.
Unless Thanos, maybe he is. Maybe Thanos moves, punches him away, gets some power. Maybe that move also takes him to within 4 of Scarlet Witch, so that then with the power he's gained, he needs to get 1 power. If he gets the wild throw, then he can portal away, mind gem someone away. Ugh, this might be a very spread out set of X-Men that we're about to see.
Yeah. Yeah. This is not looking pretty for the X-Men, especially with him not getting the Kree Core.
And hasn't done really any work into the Black Order, so he's playing the attrition hat on, and just hasn't got the attrition work done in the first 2 turns that he needed to get done.
Yeah. He really didn't. I think he played much too conservatively early.
That, yeah, possibly in retrospect, that pulling back Cable play has meant they're very out of position for round 2. Mm-hmm. So it was an interesting play, but I don't think it's really panned out.
Mm-hmm. And that might have been because I did see him measuring like the Thanos distance, and I think he just missed getting out of the Thanos distance the way he had set up earlier. So this could have been just a small mistake here, cascades into pulling more and more stuff later on in the game that cascades badly.
Yeah, we've got some dice hitting the table. So this is Thanos. He spent 1 power, so is this a spender attack?
Yeah, trying to get that push away
so
and
this
the
is
slow.
The energy with an extra dice from the
power.
Well, those are some dice.
Those are some dice. He's getting that push away and that slow.
Well, slow on Cable doesn't do much.
And that is 8 hits.
Gosh. Into 2 blocks. So that is 1-shotting Cable. Does he get the push? Push is after. So Cable's going to stay there. That actually might be a result, because now Cable is locked in place there. And
at least until the sword push will get him dislodged.
Ah, yeah, that's true, because that's in the power phase, so he can still be sword pushed away. Oof. But then the sword push he can counteract with the body slide by 1, so he'll be back basically in that same position. He should be within range 5 of Corvus, and at least he can get some... no, here we go. He's Cosmic Portaling Corvus away to make him even safer, trying to get him out of range 5. Yep. Yuck.
Yeah, this just cascaded badly.
So 5 VP is going to go to 8. So we're looking at, if all things being equal, this is going to end round 4. So he's got 2 rounds to really try and swing this round.
Yeah.
And it's going to start with Cable's dice exploding into Corvus. Yep, there's Corvus being ported away. He's now out of 5, which means Cable's probably only going to get 1 attack. He does now have the power to all you've got, but then that would remove Cable from the board. Oof. That is not fun at all.
But yeah.
So Thanos has still got another action. So he's looking at where can I go to get some value out of the Mind Gem. He doesn't have the power for another Cosmic Portal. But Mind Gemming Scarlet Witch away, I think, is what he's looking at. So maybe coming over to this side of the console and sending Scarlet Witch further away. Again, just reducing that threat on Corvus. Because she's got a nice easy walk, range 4 attack into Corvus going on right now. Pushing her away, walking her away short. Yeah. So Ulysses still taking his time, making sure he's not making a mistake, doing lots of measurements, being precise. It's what you want to see out of a top player. Again, checking, he's thinking through all the options that Nick's going to have next round and thinking, right, how do I best counter them? It looks like he's out of so it looks like Scarlet Witch can't even get an attack without an all you've got, which you won't have the power for. I guess Advanced R&D can give her the power. So maybe maybe that's what you do. Maybe you double move Scarlet Witch, Advanced R&D a power onto her from probably Cable, and then all you've got and 2 attacks into Corvus and try and do it that way.
But that's still really sketchy.
It is, and it doesn't deal with the whole Thanos is controlling the board, and it probably doesn't get you the energy core either, because she's going to be attacking from range 4, and so she's not going to be able to
definitely doesn't get you the energy core at all, because if you're all you've gotten, she's going to daze right afterwards.
That's true. Cyclops has been starved of power. He hasn't made an attack this game, and he's been spending power on tactics cards and interacting with things, and so he's nowhere near a field leader to try and help out these heavy hitters. So again, looking at a medium move and a range 5. Not quite sure why there's a medium move. Maybe it's one of those composite measurements where you've got 5 inches of medium move and 10 inches of range 5, and that's a sort of a 15-inch, seeing what 15 inches looks like, maybe a relevant thing for Cable. So it looks like Thanos has moved just a little bit. Yeah, and hasn't mind gemmed anyone by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Chose not to use the Mind Gem. And yeah, 8 to 0. And with Cable dazed as well, there's an extra VP on the table for Cable getting KO'd. Yeah, here comes the sword push we talked about. I don't think that VP is not going to factor into the maths hugely. It's not going to speed up the clock enough to mean that this could end this round.
Yeah. No, it doesn't change the math from a 2-turn clock.
No, but dazing, KOing Cable makes this significantly harder. So yeah, Cable was the biggest threat. Get rid of him. He's got the power. Yeah, his spender is only range 2, so you got lots of dice, but the Incinerate, the Wild Incinerate on his plasma rifle, that'd be nice. Again, just increasing the odds for Scarlet Witch if she's going to do that. All you've got kind of play. But then I think Thanos just goes and picks it up, walks back, moves some people away. He's only on 2 power though, so he's going to. Yeah, if you can take Corvus down, I think that at least buys him a turn. That takes the clock from round 4 to round 5.
Someone is playing. Cable is playing
Cable
Blind
is
Obsession.
obsessed with Corvus. No, with Thanos.
Thanos.
I guess that's defensive. So let's try and take out Corvus Glaive. Corvus won't be able to punch Cable, and then if Thanos tries to punch Cable, you've got the defensive bonus from Blind Obsession. So I like that. Cable's got a bunch of power. Hasn't got particularly great things to spend it on. Throwing that truck maybe might take up 3 of his power. Body sliding. Okay, looks like he's just shooting Thanos. Ooh, maybe he's thinking I can also slow this if I can get control of the consoles. If I can get Thanos gone, that's another route he's exploring here by the looks of it, because he has got that size 3 throw as well, which will hopefully help him out. Man, awful roll from Thanos, but not amazing from not amazing. So 2 damage onto Thanos. But
no wild incinerate, sadly.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Yeah, he needs a bit of dice luck here to really start helping him out. Presumably, he's just going to go in again. Another 7 dice.
Yep.
There's 2 extra dice. Beautiful. There's the wild. And
there's a lot of wild.
Yeah, another great attack. So 6 damage. Thanos is always going to reduce 1. Man, but his defense dice have been awful. So 5 at the minute going through. There's the 6. So that is a dazed Thanos.
Suddenly this brings that Scarlet Witch all you've got play much more interesting.
I think that makes it less interesting, because what that's done is that now says if Nick wants, he can take control of the consoles and take away that 3 VP. He's trying to get
start pushing Corvus into the team.
You got it. Start pushing Corvus in. You've taken away one of Thanos' control methods now as well in his Cosmic Portal. He's got a bunch of power, but so Thanos is going to start pivoting into starting to do damage, but he's still going to be blind obsessed with Cable, who is the obvious person to try and remove from the board. So yeah, great play from Nick there, and those dice helped him out to the point where he's not on top anymore, but he's back in this game. This game was running away from him, and that activation has really brought it back.
But this is giving up priority.
It is, but we've talked about this before. On this sword, going last can be an advantage.
Yeah, for sure.
Corvus got a decent amount of power. Actually, he's on 5 power because we've had to.
And he is throwing the truck at something.
That's interesting, because it's not going to do damage. So maybe he is...
Oh, he is clearing it out so Cyclops can double move over.
That makes sense.
Because the truck was a size 3 in the way of the double move for Cyclops.
Yep, I can see that.
And then you still have Scarlet Witch contesting that point in a way that a Okoye can't respond to, so you last activate Scarlet Witch. She can very easily deal with an Okoye because of all of her mystic attacks. Then take back that point.
I'd have liked maybe to see that truck thrown into this size 1 streetlight, so that streetlight is a great backstop for Thanos punching people and throwing into them repeatedly in that kind of classic Thor trick. So maybe taking away that option has the downside that you get thrown away, but it reduces the damage you're likely to receive. So Corvus running away is not going to... Well, let's see, what are we, round 3? So if he scores all of the sword till the end of the game, then he's going to go to 12. And yeah, Ulysses will get more than that.
Yeah.
So currently he hasn't swung it back to, I just need to score these. He still needs to get Corvus at least once. Dazing him and making him drop that is possibly enough. Going and grabbing it would be even better.
And he has med-packed Corvus.
Yeah, trying to keep him alive. Although Corvus now has a daze token. That doesn't look right. I think he's just put the wrong token in there.
Yeah, I think he just put the wrong token down. Ooh. That is an interesting point that Utility Cookie brought up. That he can mothership Thanos back to the back and have him basically playing line protection for Corvus.
Yeah, and you can do all of your control effects before you do that. And Thanos has got a bunch of power now. He's going to be on 10 power next round.
Yeah, and then you can use it in later turns to prevent the movement ability off of the sword base by just body blocking with Thanos.
Oh, yeah, it's in the corner and you put him base to base and he can't go anywhere. Ugh, yep. I guess you're then pulling Thanos in and trying to remove him, because then what you're doing is you're chasing after Corvus in this corner. But then you run the risk that Okoye is going to start snuffling up these consoles if you commit too heavily this way. Oh, yeah. So it's definitely still advantage Ulysses. He's still in the driving seat. But Nick has done some great job making this a game and making Ulysses work for it and have to think about it.
Ooh.
So it's Ulysses is measuring this. He's sort of seeing, can Scarlet Witch get down there? So it's just checking the back door. If I do bring Okoye up, can Scarlet Witch get back down?
Mm-hmm. But you are taking the priority here. You have priority effectively. You have last activation here. So you can abandon the points with Cyclops and Cable at this point, because you have Scarlet Witch protecting off of Okoye, and if Thanos chooses to retreat at all to support Corvus, you can just completely control that point. You can completely control the sword points at that point.
Yeah. So yeah, they've definitely still got getting to Corvus has got to be Nick's plan. So and Scarlet Witch is probably your best Corvus killer.
Probably.
Because you're very likely to put a hex on him with your first attack, if nothing else. So he's got advanced R&D in all you've got, so this might be, there's a move. Are we going to see another move? Yep, we can R&D a power off Cable. Does that get him to within 4? He's looking at it. I think maybe if he comes off just to the side of the car, it's going to be tight, but with some... Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
So that's in 4.
And then double attack into Corvus.
With all you've got. So I expect to see advanced R&D and all you've got going on here. No.
Ooh.
Just running Scarlet Witch up there and saying, right, well, don't worry, I can get you next turn. It's fine. I'm in no hurry. I think the downside of that is Thanos is going to be going into punching mode. So he's going to be mind gemming Cable away. Hasn't got the Cosmic Portal anymore, which is big.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cyclops came over and took that console. But now Okoye is going to get the last action, and she might come up and take this console.
I don't know if she can.
She passed, yeah. Because of the way that turn played out, he had to basically do nothing with Okoye.
But I don't know if she can double move to that other console because of the building in the way.
Oh, you just go around it. I think it's fine. You only need to get within one of it.
Yeah, but I think that may still be too far considering she's on the other side of the piece.
Mm.
Oh. Huh.
Okay, so this is the sword push, bringing Corvus in. I want to be careful. Yeah, he's just checking, making sure he didn't go within 2. Whew! I'd have had that 2 on Scarlet Witch first. I mean, as it turns out, he had plenty of room, but my heart was in my mouth for a second there. Did you just bring Corvus into I eat Scarlet Witch range?
But I am very worried about Thanos popping off this turn and being able to daze all 3.
Yeah, and then you've got Okoye coming around here and taking that console is very likely to happen as well. So Cyclops might find himself having to track back this way rather than contribute to the battle.
Yeah.
Just to cover off that back door. Because then, so it might still end this round if that were to happen and you were to KO Cable.
Yeah, that would point out. No, because Flip Thanos has a different leadership ability. We are on Flip Thanos, so you don't get VP off of Cable. You there? Yeah. It's Cable is going to Thanos is going to struggle to KO Cable with the blind obsession. And you can't bring in Corvus because he has the objective token, so he can't mothership in. Can chat still hear me? At the very least?
Sorry. Yeah, I pressed a button on my computer. Sorry, I am back.
You're back. So yes, sorry. As I was saying earlier, since Thanos is flipped, he cannot score out this turn.
Yep. I think that's right. Yep. It's got the different leadership. Well spotted.
Well, at least I was still able to entertain the crowd when you were muted yourself.
Yeah, very ably. I could hear you. I just pressed the wrong button. But that's good. Mm-hmm. So, looking at that 5 is a walk punch range for Corvus. Mm-hmm. So, maybe looking at bringing Cable in with the mind gem, or sending Cable away. Maybe that's Cable's range 5. So he's thinking, well, if I send Cable over there, he's only going to get 1 attack because he'll body slide and then have to move to get into range 5. Mm-hmm. Might be what he's looking at. But Corvus has got 5 power. He has got enough for a death blow, which is range 3. He could death blow into Scarlet Witch and walk away back into the corner. Mm-hmm. Hasn't got enough to which also stops him taking a damage from the Kree core.
And if he wanted, he still has no matter the cost, so he can Glaive's Edge it.
I'd be loath to do that. I mean, yes, it increases your chance of taking out Scarlet Witch, but you're also going to be taking... How much damage are you going to be taking there? He's paid 2 on Corvus. What's he paid 2 on Corvus for?
For a...
Mothership. Yeah, there we go. So that's bringing back... So we've got a Mind Gem, Cable away. Thanos is being mothershipped in, and it's going to punch Scarlet Witch twice. That's a much better odds of dazing Scarlet Witch. Mm-hmm. And when you've got 8 power on Thanos, you're not that worried about the judgment.
Yeah. But this is going to come down to some dice, it looks like.
Well, for a while it looked like it wasn't going to. So I think Nick would happily take that from where he was.
Yeah. I will happily take a game that comes down to dice.
Yeah.
Makes things interesting.
It does. I think this Cyclops activation is going to be really important. Hopefully he won't need to go up to deal with the Thanos Corvus problem and can track back and cover the Okoye. And let's see if Scarlet Witch can survive an angry Titan with lots of power. Mm-hmm. She does have a decent energy defense, but we've got 3. This is the big 8 dice energy punch.
Mm-hmm. But she also has equal odds to Thanos on dice because of her counting skulls.
Yep.
So, on law of averages, she is looking to only take 4 damage.
Yeah, so she, on average dice, so only 1 block on that first one, and a big hit from Thanos.
Oh.
Yeah, it's gonna be swinging it even further in Ulysses' favour, but it's not going to take her out with 1, so she might survive the second.
Yeah.
She's hanging on 2.
Yes, as Vince Chan points out, Thanos also has rerolls off of his leadership.
If he wants them, yeah. Is that another thing that's got a cost to pay? That's something we've all missed for the reroll timing. Oh no, it's during the modified. No, it says during the modified dice step of an attack, so it specifically
Okay.
calls out the timing, so it's not affected by the new ruling. Okay, does Thanos go another 8 dice energy, or do you do the 6 dice physical? I think probably the 8 dice energy is 8 into 4. Although, does the math change with the different Scarlet Witch? Anyway, yeah, we're going with an 8 dice energy. But, oh no, he's paying the rerolls. He's taking the damage and paying the rerolls.
He got an additional damage.
Oh, got 1. Still, I think he was hoping.
Which I think means the punch is now the option, because if you roll any wilds, you throw her into the car and.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what dice she rolls. Yeah. Card just flipped. What was that? That was Medpack's already gone. Yeah. So he has gone with the 8 dice attack again.
That's a much better defensive roll, but not enough.
Only 2. Yeah, that's enough to get her. Doesn't need to use the reroll again. Thanos has been judged, but Scarlet Witch has been dazed.
But this will give priority back over.
It does, but it significantly increases Corvus's chance of surviving this round.
Yeah.
Which, again, yeah, I would have liked to. I think that all you've got play last turn.
Yeah, would have been the pull.
I think, maybe. We'll talk to him and see whether that crossed his mind. But then maybe he's going to do an amazing all you've got this round. Cable has, but that would take Cable off the table.
But
so, speaking
potentially dazing 2 of them, if you get potentially KOing Thanos and taking out a Corvus for an all you've got play.
Yep. And because he's
really big.
Still got the blind obsession, if he got up, does he have the power? No, he doesn't have the power to all you've got and do his big spender attack. That costs cracky 6 power. But the area 2 7 dice. Oof. When you've got the power for that, that's great. So that's the first action move. So he is now in range to start making attacks, should he want to.
Yep.
Yeah. Johan is pointing out in the chat, he's got to protect this central console. Cyclops can do that. That's a possibility. And that's assuming that Okoye can get there around this building as well.
Yeah, which I am not convinced
4.
by.
I think it'd be tight. Okay, so here comes the attack. Well, got some wilds in there for the incinerate.
Ooh.
2 blocks so far, so he might. He's only taking 1, and he might take 0. So just 1, but the incinerate might play in. Might be important.
That probably will be very important.
So. Looking now.
Yes, that was something that Fastnick had considered, Pat. He ended up going for the Corvus play just to get more of his characters in sight of Corvus. But that was something that he definitely considered.
What do we think? A medium move, maybe about there for Okoye, plus a base, plus a medium move, plus a base. Maybe it is short. Maybe Okoye can't get around that building. Could she go a short move and a base? And I think that's short as well. So it's possible that building's worked against him there in terms of Okoye getting onto that middle point anyway. So interesting to see. I suspect Okoye is going to be coming up anyway. Maybe. Okay, we're all you got in with Cable. So Cable is leaving the table. Should be fewer dice. Yeah, they've just caught that.
Yeah.
They've just caught the fewer dice. 1 block, so 1 more through on Corvus. Needs a big final attack here to have made this worthwhile, but he's chasing the game, and so he had to play all you got at some point. I think I would have rather had the 2 attacks with Scarlet Witch rather than with the 6 dice count skulls rather than the 5 dice with the incinerate. So I think this play's come probably around too late.
Yeah.
But maybe it pays off for him. Let's see. Big roll coming up.
He needs to do 4 successes above, and he's not going. He
might get there.
He might. It's going to be close.
There's no blocks, so if
No blocks.
this comes in, then that's a dazed Corvus, and he'll feel like this gamble has paid off. There he goes.
And it did. Oh, buddy.
Game on. So Cyclops is now freed up to come and cover this point even if Okoye does get there, and if Okoye doesn't get there, I think is probably positioning somewhere around in this middle section here near the crossroads, within range 4 of Thanos and within range 4 of wherever Okoye is going to end up. For his to make an attack into Thanos probably this round and cover off Okoye coming up there later. Okay, so let's just swing around. Yep, X-Men have still got these 2.
No. Ooh. Nope. They caught that.
Yeah, they were thinking that they were going to get some VPs, but ooh. Yep, some nice tight placement there onto the building. She might well be in.
Yeah, I think it may just be there.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be in. Yep.
Yeah.
Easy life. Right, so Cyclops probably double moves and has to take the 50-50.
Or do you play Cyclops and try and daze KO Thanos? Do you have to go for the more aggressive play now?
How does that help him win the game? Because Corvus is going to go and pick up that power core and run away. And maybe get taken up by Scarlet Witch then. Yeah. I feel like making the game go longer is what Nick needs to do. Ulysses, now that he's sort of starting to get behind on the attrition, although only 2 characters left. Yeah, you're right. He's being aggressive.
Oh.
He's going to go and pick that up rather than make any attacks. So he's going to go, ooh. The downside now is Ulysses is going to be 3 victory points away from victory, and he's going to be acting last on Sword Base. He's still got some control effects with Thanos, and he's in control of the Sword Base currently, so he can push away, I guess, Scarlet Witch.
Push Cyclops into Corvus so he doesn't have to move to attack.
Remember, the X-Men are going to have the priority, so it's entirely possible that someone goes down. I think you're more concerned. Ulysses' route to victory now is win the Sword Bases.
Yeah.
So in order for that to swing around and not be possible, he would need to take out Thanos and Corvus. Scarlet Witch is capable of doing that. She's got a size 2 she can throw. Needs some pretty hot dice. But if you can do that, and then Cyclops... But then I think Okoye...
Cyclops can't get over.
But then you don't think he can double move onto this central console?
He can't.
Yeah,
but
then Okoye can...
the quick core.
Ah! Yes, so he is slow. So he can get to that one.
No, he only gets 1 move action.
Oh, 1 move action, that's right. I'm thinking of the scroll.
You are thinking of scrolls.
Yeah. So Cyclops can get to this one. So maybe it's Cyclops who has to deal with these guys, which doesn't feel very likely. He hasn't got the power. So what he'd need to do is get an optic blast onto one of them, get 2 power off it, to then pay for an optic devastation. Oh no, he's got Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch can help pay for it. So he doesn't need as much power. Cyclops' leadership's still there.
Yep.
But I think you've got to, because otherwise Okoye is going to double move up here, and then Black Order are going to control all 3 consoles. Scarlet Witch can only take one of them away. Cyclops could only take one of them away. Got no matter the cost has been used.
Did we mess up and BO has priority?
Yes, because Cyclops had the last activation, didn't he? Yep, yeah. So Black Order does have priority.
So this is no matter...
God, look at those dice. That's a Death's Decreed, injured, Death's Decreed, Death Blow, no matter the cost.
And this is probably going to be game here.
And did he also... Yeah, he spent a bunch of power. I think it's also Corvus is glaive edged, so those 3 blanks are counting, I think. Yeah. That's a lot of hits.
So that's 3, 6, 9, 10. Into Scarlet Witch with the flurry into Cyclops.
Yeah, Scarlet. He's just taken Scarlet Witch off the table. That's... Yeah. And he's got the movement first if he wants it. If he's not within 2 of Cyclops. So he can move and then go into Cyclops. But yeah, Cyclops can't get to this console, so that is game there. He's gonna score those 3, even if he doesn't manage to take out Scott.
But this was an interesting game.
It really was. I can't wait to start hearing what Nick's got to say. Really looking forward to the interview afterwards.
Well, Cyclops wants to live.
Man, yeah, he's got a couple of crits in there. 2 crits to roll in for Corvus, though. And Corvus has got another...
That's a really good attack roll for Fast Nick.
Yeah.
Making an attack.
Yeah.
Ooh, only 3 hits, so only taking 1 damage.
Yeah, but he has got another attack, and he's got enough power to make it a glaive's edge.
Yeah.
A glaive's edge death blow by the looks of things. No, just a glaive's edge. Ooh, shields, not what you want to see as a Corvus player. And no crits, so 3 hits, 2 blocks currently. So yeah, Cyclops is going to live. It's not going to make a difference.
Yeah. It
maybe
does mean he gets the optic devastation.
Yeah, he does, and he'll catch both of them in the beam, which is nice. Maybe he could take off both of them and then just have little Okoye running around, sneaking around for the win.
Yeah. Oh, I got it. Ulysses is doing it. Oh, you've got...
Because why not? Might as well use tactic cards.
And that's a dazed Cyclops, and
it's going to drop the
think
core.
that is just a full concession.
Yeah, Thanos will then pick it up.
So this scores out at 18-5.
Yep. Thanos picks up the core. Okoye runs over and grabs the last one just because. 18-5. Yeah, very different from how we thought it was going to go from seeing the crisis set up and the threat value.
Yeah. This was a messy match. But I really like this X-Men list from Fast Nick.
I really like that he's trying something else. He's not playing what is kind of the received wisdom of what you should play into Black Order. It didn't work out for him. But
yeah. I think the idea was somewhat sound. I think the turn 1 play fell flat with Cable.
Which will be interesting to talk about. Was that a plan, or was it trying to correct a mistake? But it looks like they're talking through. Shall we hop back and hear their conversation? Go into the other server.
Yeah, no, I thought my plan was solid, right? Because the way Black Order works is they want to keep priority, and with 3 at this points level, it's very difficult for you to do that. But Yeah, it came down to dice. My hitters, one, you picked up the power core, and I think we tried the same amount of times, and you just got it.
Yeah, but Corvus is preferred to get it because he gets skulls as crits.
Yeah, he gets two. He gets two. That's right. And then when I went in for the punches, they didn't do much. And then your hits on Thanos were nuts.
Yeah, Thanos pulled it out.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just to let you know you're on the stream. Firstly,
Cool,
great game. We were rocking and rolling right from turn 0 when we saw your list, Nick. I know our listeners are going to want, our viewers are going to want to know your thought process in that, because up to that point we thought it was fairly standard. 14 sword against Black Order, good job. Then talk us through your list choice.
My thought process with Black Order, and I haven't played them that much, this is only my third game into Black Order, is that they want to daze and KO back to back. And if I go wide, they tend to be able to do that, like one-shot the characters, the 3 threats and those sorts of things. Like in a couple practice games, they just one-shot, Wolverine with his 4 defense and Beast and all that sort of stuff. So I figured if I go 3 wide, I actually outrange Black Order, and so I can sit further back and get double attacks where you need to come towards me to Mind Gem me, to Cosmic Portal me. And it was going to come down to dice, but I think it was always going to come down to dice, whether I go 3 wide or 5 wide. And I thought this gave me the best opportunity with the range 5 on Cable to be able to grab a point, move away so that I'm safe, so I can't get double attacked turn 1, and then potentially force a difficult decision, either go for the console or try and get the Black Order game going. And to Patrick's credit, he went for the console, which was the points, and the push proved quite crucial. And also this table, right? This big building in the middle here really limited my movement options to be able to switch and go across to the other side of the table. So it was well played on both regards, both the positioning of the table and then going for the points over getting sucked into the Black Order normal game.
And Ulysses, what was your reaction when you saw Nick's list being revealed?
I actually felt that I made a wrong choice, because normally if I was into that, I'd want my 2 wide option. And so then I play the normal Black Order game plan if I'm just doing Thanos with time in mind and Corvus with reality. And I've had some games on that and I like it. But as soon as I saw this, I was like, okay, basically I now have to play the control game because I have last activation with Thanos.
Yeah. Feels good.
And so I basically just went wide and said, okay, Okoye is going to go over here. You can go and try and get Okoye, but that leaves your 2 characters with Corvus and Thanos, which you generally don't want to do. And so then it was just Thanos going the control game. And then with Corvus, I said, okay, the way I win this is Corvus getting the Kree Core. And so I just headed straight to the Kree Core, rolled, and then the next turn I just shook Hex and then rolled again.
Yeah.
Because of the reality gem, he gets an advantageous roll there. And so that was sort of what my game plan shifted completely to VPs, and just basically like I just have to get as many VPs as possible and play the control game.
Yeah, no, that was definitely the right call. And we were discussing, would you see that, or would you be locked into the Black Order mindset? But clearly, good players are able to react on the fly.
Yeah, I think that was 100% the right play to make. That as soon as and I was thinking about pivoting towards Okoye, right, and just getting the sword bases and potentially getting rid of her. But once you picked up the core, then it was too far ahead. I was happy to go sort of 6-0 for better positioning to then attrition you. But as soon as you got the core and you were getting 5 points a turn, then that option wasn't open to me anymore. I had to come this way. And then you're right, and then Thanos just controls me away.
You had a really interesting activation with Cable and use of To Me My X-Men. Do you want to talk through what you did and why you did it?
So essentially, what my hope was to flip a back point and then force Patrick to one side of the table, which is what it did. And I was maybe too worried because all my practice games into Black Order, they just one-shot characters. They just seem to roll well. And I wanted to make sure that Cable could be safe and still within range 5 of being able to sort of hit either of these consoles. But then the extra push from flipping it, because he had the last activation, was just enough to make that not reliable. So probably a misplay there, to be honest, because what that would have given me options later on is to move Cyclops forward and then drag a 1 or 2 player, certainly Cable, back up the table. So, but the plan was flip that, move away, so force someone to be on this side of the table and then get the positioning advantage, having my characters sort of within range to double attack.
And then start trying to leverage the attrition.
That's right. That's right.
And you had that all you've got play with Cable in round 4. Did you consider doing it with Scarlet Witch in round 3?
I did. Yeah, I did consider it, but I couldn't get the power to her. So I could have... What did I do in round 3? Remind me where that was. It could always
Scarlet Witch was over here on the central console, and she double moved up towards Corvus, just the other side of the blue car.
Yes.
And then
she was on 3 power.
But you had advanced R&D, which you didn't use.
I did. So and I thought about it. So I did think about flipping R&D and then all you've got definitely. But I think I then moved with Cyclops to flip this console, didn't I? Which gave me the middle and the right one. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I think... What was the score at that point? And then I can run you through.
8-0.
8-0. Yeah, I think I felt I needed to get the console, and that potentially Scarlet Witch could survive 2 attacks from one of Thanos or Corvus, particularly Thanos, because he can't Death Decree himself.
Yep.
But as it turned out, she couldn't, because he just smashed her. Yeah, so that was my thought. I thought I'll get in position, I'll get the 3 points to extend the game, and then hope that she doesn't die from a mothership double attack from Thanos. And then all you've got is still open to me that next turn if I don't quite get rid of Corvus.
Yeah. We were speculating, actually, earlier in the game. If Jean was available, would you have played Jean instead of Scarlet Witch?
100%. 100%. Jean changes this matchup so much. Because what you can do is you can sit and then Corvus goes, I'm going to Cosmic Portal you, and you say, no, you're not. And with Cyclops leadership, I don't know that I might run 3 wide. I haven't tested it, right, with Jean. But with Jean and her spender, you can just one-shot Corvus potentially. Like, between all the damage and the throw, and the spender's actually relatively easy to get off with Cyclops leadership. There's absolutely no question Scarlet Witch from now on is out of my rosters and Jean Grey's in, because I think she just adds so much to this matchup. In particular, just double moving to a point, pushing someone off with first class, right? She can just move up here, push you off with 2 power, and flip that on turn 1. It's just, she's amazing in this matchup for sure. I was saying to Josh, who's still in the cut, we were discussing our matchups, and I was saying, Jean makes this such a better matchup, and he's like, you need to stop telling me that because Jean's not in your roster.
Yeah.
So, I think you can tell Sploosh, I think he's incorrect on Jean. I think she's amazing.
I think he's listening on Twitch at the minute, so you told him yourself. Lecture, have you got any questions you wanted to ask?
I wanted to come at this from Ulysses' perspective, because you talked a little bit about this being something you having to adapt your playstyle to the team that got presented to you. Did you, looking back, even though you did win, are there points in this game that you're learning from because this seemed at least like a new experience for you to face?
Yeah, so there's one time when Thanos was right here. That because I'm not used to playing on sword, I think I could have optimized Thanos' move better. Because my original thought process was to move Thanos to block the place by Cable to be within 5 of Corvus. but I forgot that the sword was on the push. So I could just sword push Cable back, which meant that I had sort of a suboptimal move and placement with Thanos here. And so that's one of the things that that I gained from this, particularly from this game, was the just more experience on sword, and to try and slow down and think through, okay, what about crisis effects and things like that? Because I sort of missed that, and I think I could have played better there. But as far as the matchup, it's really, yeah, like you guys already brought up what it's sort of what it sort of brought to me is that when you see things, you always have to be willing to sort of pivot, and that's not always what Black Order does. A lot of times, as you brought up, you just go for the kill, go for the kill, and it really sort of basically beat it into me that, yeah, oftentimes just doing maybe the control and maybe going to VP and switching up your game plan is the right way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely trying to bait you into going into the kill. Like that was the whole purpose of the 3 wide, and again, probably comes back to this Cable play. I probably should have left Cable here to perhaps bait you even more into that, rather than giving you options of pushing me away. But that was my game plan, was to do something that you didn't expect, and then hope that you didn't pivot quickly enough.
Interesting. And going forward, how do you feel about Black Order into your matchups that you've got lined up coming in the rest of the cut, or have you not thought that far ahead yet?
So I think the next one, am I facing Roran?
Yes, the Cabal
Yeah.
Criminal Syndicate list.
So that can be rough. I mean, a lot of these matchups, these trouble matchups, really come to who gets priority and who chooses. Because in a lot of matchups, Black Order can do really well if the people you're facing don't get the particular crisis setup that is advantageous for them versus Black Order. And so against Criminal Syndicate, it's if they get secures and are able to drop something like Gamma or Fisk, then it makes the game a lot harder. Whereas if I get to sort of take that away from them, then it becomes a little easier. So that's often how I approach games with Black Order, is basically saying, what is the worst crisis that can basically hit me? Because fortunately, with this Black Order roster, threat is not really that big of an issue, because I have teams that I'm comfortable playing at basically at every threat level. It's really particular crises. So, like, for instance, this is Sword. So Sword's a really problematic crisis. Things like that. So a lot of it will just be going through and saying, okay, what's the problematic crises? What's my game plan for that? Things like that.
And talking of crises, this is a question for Fast Nick. You chose to go for Secures, which is not the common wisdom for the Black Order matchup. Were you specifically scouting for the sword base objective, or was there another reason that you went for Secures?
So the longer answer is, I looked at my roster, and it doesn't have any particular Black Order tech, because I just play the things that I like, and I try and make them work as well as I can. And I looked at Ulysses' roster, and I'm like, this is not a great matchup for me. I don't really have the tools to punch that well, and I don't have any anti-control tech, and I don't really have much control myself. And in the practice games where I used Spider Infected, the plan was essentially grab the middle one, run away, grab the lateral ones and run away. And the table at 17 points, the Black Order 17 is so much stronger than what I could get at 17. And the table's just not big enough for you to run away. You just don't have enough time. And between Mothership and all their shenanigans, Thanos with the time and mind gem, his range is so massive that running away is futile. So, again, and the conventional wisdom is, I'm sure, Ulysses and all the Black Order players are much more practiced against people that grab the extracts and run away with them than they are against someone who is trying to match you for low drops and hunch harder than you, essentially. And so, like, it's a little bit of gamesmanship, you know, like, oh, why did Nick take secures? He must have a really good plan for this, when really my plan is just roll better. You know, why did Nick take secures? Why did Nick run that squad? This is not what I practiced for. So there's a little bit of that going on. But then also, I just felt that getting 14 was more beneficial for me than an extract at 17 or 18, which is what I have.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I've got a question from chat for you, Nick. From Jankosaurus Dex. Are you going to wash your Lucky Cyclops socks?
I haven't decided yet. They probably do need a wash after the rolls in this game. I don't know. I didn't watch the game. It's very hard to be impartial with your rolls, but I felt mine were probably average, and Ulysses were probably a bit above average. I don't know. Was that the feeling in the chat?
I mean, some of the defense rolls on Thanos, for example, there weren't loads of rolls in this game. It's not because a few characters and a lot of cagey play and control positioning. Some of the Thanos defense rolls, you didn't roll very many blocks on when you managed to daze him with 2 attacks. So I think it didn't stand out as being particularly one way or the other. I mean, there were some big rolls on both sides, and there were some flubs on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think they're probably due a wash. Yeah, definitely.
So what's the story there behind that? You've got a pair of lucky socks then.
Well, I'm quite silly in that I went to a shoe shop in Australia. I don't know if you have them in the UK or the US, called Platypus, and they had a pair of Wolverine socks and a pair of Cyclops socks for sale. And silly me spent $60, which is like, I don't know, maybe £40 or 30 or 40 pounds on 2 pairs of socks. And I didn't realise until I'd gotten home, and I'm like, did I just spend $60 on 2 pairs of socks? These better be my lucky ones now.
Cool. Right, guys. Well, thank you very much for a very entertaining game. Definitely had us talking right from the beginning. And congratulations, Ulysses, and commiserations to Nick. And we look forward to seeing Ulysses in the next round against Johan Rorin.
Yeah, good luck, Ulysses. Well played.
Yeah, and thanks.
Thank you.
And thanks to our table judge, Abby, for doing a great job keeping you guys on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, I needed it.
Thanks, Abby.
You're welcome. You didn't make me work for it.
Okay. Thanks very much, guys.